I opened the door in the dark and touched somebody's hand. "Smee?" I whispered. There was no answer. I thought I'd found Smee. Well, I don't understand it, but I suddenly had a strange, cold feeling. I can't describe it, but I felt that something was wrong, so I turned on my electric torch and there was nobody there. "Smee is here with us," I cried. "Yeah," Mrs. Gorman said. The curtain was pulled back and we sat looking into the eye of Reggie's torch. I looked at Mrs. Gorman and then on my other side. Between me and the wall was an empty place on the window seat. At first, I stayed with the others, but for several minutes, no Smee was found. I left the main group and started searching on the first floor at the west side of the house. And there, while I was feeling my way along, I bumped into a pair of human knees. This is a Christmas tale called Smee.
Smee?
Oh yeah. I love Hook so much.
I love Hook.
Oh, piss off, bollocks. It was Christmas Eve, and we were a party of 14 with just the proper leavening of youth. Oh, fucking hell, it's still all bullshit, isn't it? We dined well. It was the season for childish games, and we were all in the mood for playing them, except, that is, Jackson. When somebody suggested hide and seek, there was rapturous and almost unanimous approval. He was the one dissentient voice. It was not like Jackson to be a spoil sport or refuse to do as others wanted. Somebody asked him if he was feeling seedy. So it's like he wanted to have a shag. Or pick on girls in the shower.
Oh, gosh.
That's not appropriate. No, he answered, I feel perfectly fine, but he added with a smile which softened without retracting the flat refusal. What does that mean? I'm not playing hide and seek. Why not? Someone asked. He hesitated for a moment before replying. I sometimes go to stay at a house where a girl was killed.
What?
She was playing hide and seek in the dark. She didn't know the house very well. There was a door that led to the servants' staircase. When she was chased, she thought the door led to a bedroom. She opened the door, jumped, and landed at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh, Jesus.
She broke her neck, of course. Standard. Oh, we all looked serious. Mrs. Fernley said, how terrible, and were you there when it happened? Jackson shook his head sadly. No, he said, but I was there when something else happened. Something much worse. Susie's pissed and eating a mince pie. Love the vibes.
I'm so into this.
What could be worse than that? This was, said Jackson. He hesitated for a moment, then he said, I wonder if any of you have ever played a game called SMEE. It's much better than hide and seek. The name comes from It's Me, of course. Perhaps you'd like to play it instead of hide and seek. Let me tell you the rules for the game. Every player is given a sheet of paper. All the sheets except one are blank. On the last sheet of paper is written SMEE. Nobody knows who SMEE is except SMEE himself or herself. You turn out the lights, and SMEE goes quietly out of the room and hides. Oh, we should definitely go to a haunted house and play this.
I absolutely.
Yeah. After a time,
wait. So sorry. Say it again. Someone who you
so
don't
everyone,
know.
it's like everyone gets a sheet of paper, and on the last sheet is written SMEE. So like, only everybody either gets a piece of blank paper or SMEE. So it's like,
and then SMEE is the one
like
who
traitors.
So everyone with their eyes shut, and then SMEE goes out the room to hide.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Of course, they don't know who they're looking for. When one player meets another, he challenges him by saying, so they're all looking for each other while they're hiding. He challenges him by saying SMEE. The other person answers SMEE, and then they continue searching. But the real SMEE doesn't answer when someone challenges. The second player stays quietly beside him. Presently, they'll be discovered by a third player. He will challenge and receive no answer, and then he'll join the first two. But the real SMEE doesn't answer, so he carries on, and everybody goes along with them like the game of salmon. Perhaps you'd like to try. Hang on. This goes on until all the players are in the same place. The last one to find SMEE has to pay a forfeit. It's a good, noisy, amusing game. In a big house, it often takes a long time for everyone to find SMEE. Perhaps you'd like to try. I'll happily pay my forfeit and sit here by the fire while you play. Sounds like a good game, I remarked. Have you played it too, Jackson? Yeah, he answered. I played it in the house that I was telling you about. And she was there? The girl who broke... No, said someone else. He told us he wasn't there when she broke her neck. Jackson thought for a moment. I don't know if she was there or not. I'm afraid she was. I know that there were 13 of us playing that game and there were only 12 people in the house. And I didn't know the dead girl's name. When I heard that whispered name in the dark, it didn't worry me. But I tell you, I'm never going to play that kind of game again. It made me nervous for quite some time. I prefer to pay my forfeit at once. We all stared at him. His words didn't make sense at all. Tim Vouse was the kindest man in the world, and he smiled. This sounds like an interesting story, he said. Come on, Jackson, you can tell it to us instead of paying a forfeit. Very well, said Jackson, and here is the story. Have you met the Sangstons? They're cousins of mine. They live in Surrey. 5 years ago, they invited me to go and spend Christmas with them. It was an old house with lots of unnecessary passages and staircases. A stranger could get lost in it quite easily. Well, I went down for that Christmas. Violet Sangston promised me that I knew most of the other guests, but unfortunately, I couldn't get away from my job until Christmas Eve. All the other guests had arrived there the previous day. I was the last to arrive, and I was only just in time for dinner. I said, hello. It actually is spelled H-U-L-L-O.
Hello.
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 That's a very posh.
Very posh,
Hello.
but also sound like a bit of an idiot. Violet Sangston introduced me to the people I didn't know, and then it was time to go for dinner. That is perhaps why I didn't hear the name of a tall, dark-haired, handsome girl.
Oh, hello.
Mm. She
Oh,
sounds like she's in the Olympics.
Oh, I like the sound of her.
She's athletic. Who I hadn't met before. Everyone was in rather a hurry.
I like the description of a woman as handsome.
I
like it. It's very Roman. It gives
I
me
see
like.
it as being very sarcastic.
Oh, do you? I know. I
Yeah.
think like handsome women. I think they're like.
I think it's
Christian
just. It's
Scott
just
Thomas, handsome. Do you know what I mean? There's handsome women. I think they're like they're strong-jawed
do you think
and
so?
Roman-looking.
I thought it just meant pretty back in the day.
No,
If someone called me handsome, I'd be annoyed. I'd feel
All
broad.
right, handsome.
I'd feel broad-backed.
Yeah. No, I think it's for like.
you know what I
Have you
mean?
seen Gladiator 2?
No, have you?
Yeah.
Did you go and see it?
I did.
Fucking long.
I took myself.
Is it long?
Do you know what? I'll tell you
Good.
this, Hannah, just quickly.
Yeah, go on.
I booked the seat
Oh,
next
no.
to the aisle seat,
Yeah.
thinking that seat ain't going to get booked.
Of course. Never.
Turn up, there's a fucking bitch to my right.
No.
Shoes are off.
No.
Popcorn, Pepsi. She's settled in. I was like, you know, in that seating plan that the fucking
Why have you
seat
done
next
that?
to you has been booked.
Was it a busy cinema?
It was fairly busy.
Could you have moved? Why
Not
should you?
Why should I?
Why should you have
And
to?
I had to sit next to her, having our lovely, like, intimate,
I mean, I
cozy
take-
solo time.
I take my shoes off but I go away
Me too.
from other people.
Yeah, but also it annoyed me
And
because
a
I took my
lounge.
shoes off and it felt like she was looking at me like I was copying her. I was like, oh, you know,
Like a
I
mean
had-
girl.
yeah.
Hate her. She
Anyway.
sounds like a dick.
There's lots of psychos in the cinema.
Oh my god, I'm scared of going again in case I
Okay,
meet
sorry,
any
carry
of them.
on, carry on.
Anyway, so a tall, dark-haired, handsome girl who I hadn't met before. Everyone was in rather a hurry to get to dinner, and I am always bad at catching people's names. She looks cold and clever. She didn't look friendly at all, but she looked interesting, and I wondered who she was. I didn't ask because I was sure that someone would speak to her by name during the meal. Unluckily, however, I was a long way from her at the table. I was sitting next to Mrs. Gorman, and as usual, Mrs. Gorman was being very bright and amusing. Her conversation is always worth listening to. I completely forgot to ask the name of the dark, proud girl. You okay?
Just putting on my lip
She's
gloss.
putting it like, oh, you've got the bag. I love that bag for makeup.
Isn't it great?
Aussie SOS.
I used to have a plastic bag, do you remember?
Yeah, yes, I do remember. Yeah, that's the reason why I encouraged you to buy that one.
Yeah, I've upgraded my life.
Okay.
Carry on. Mrs. Gorman's very funny.
Yeah, she's very funny, and this guy can't. This guy wants to finger this other woman, and he can't because he doesn't know her name. There were 12 of us. The Archers has kicked in. There were. There were 12 of us, including the Sangstons themselves. We were all young, or trying to be young. Jack and Violet Sangston were the oldest, and their 17-year-old son, Reggie, was the youngest. It was Reggie who suggested SMEE when the talk turned to games. He told us the rules of the game, just as I've described them to you. Jack Sangston warned us all, if you're going to play games in the dark, he said, please be careful of the back stairs on the first floor. A door leads to them, and I've often thought about taking the door off. In the dark, a stranger to the house could think they were walking into a room. A girl really did break her neck on those stairs. I asked how it happened. It was about 10 years ago before... Oh, fuck off, you big twass.
No, I won't. Would you like me to throw you a smint into your mouth? Go on.
Oh, it was so close.
Jesus fuck, it's in your hair though.
Jesus fuck, it's in your...
Yes.
Oh, I love a smint.
I got that really close,
A
didn't
smint
I?
for Smee.
Oh,
Oh,
stunning.
gorgeous. Okay.
So proud of us, actually.
Okay.
Sorry about the sucking of the
Sorry
smint.
about the sucking.
You cannot do the sucking of the smint
No,
on the mic.
disgusting.
They'll come for us.
No, they will, yeah. It was about 10 years ago before we came here. There was a party and they were playing hide and seek. This girl was looking for somewhere to hide. She heard somebody coming and ran along the passage to get away. She opened the door thinking it led to a bedroom. She planned to hide in there until the seeker had gone, but unfortunately, it was the door that led to the back stairs. She fell straight down to the bottom of the stairs. She was dead when they picked her up. We all promised to be careful. Mrs. Gorman even made a little joke about living to be 90. You see, none of us had known the poor girl, and we did not want to feel sad on Christmas Eve. Fair enough, yeah. Well, we all started playing the game immediately after dinner. Young Reggie Sangston went around making sure all the lights were off.
Shut it. Did you just move that with your leg?
I don't think so. I didn't feel anything.
That's weird. That's giving me chills.
Oh, no!
The fucking haunted music box.
I didn't kick it.
Put it back here, yeah. Right where we can see it.
Fuck off.
If that starts fucking moving by itself.
Imagine, it's just like...
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding.
Do they both do the same song? No, don't. One horse open sleigh.
One horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, yeah, both jingle.
No, both jingle bells came. Okay. One horse open sleigh, as though that was the name of the song. You know, one horse open sleigh.
No, one horse open sleigh.
Anyway. Okay, where are we? They didn't want to be sad on Christmas Eve. Well, we all started the game immediately after dinner. Young Reggie Sangston went around making sure all the lights were off, except the ones in the servants' rooms and in the sitting room where we were. We then prepared 12 sheets of paper. 11 of them were blank, and one of them had SMEE written on it. Reggie mixed them all up, then we each took one. The person who got the paper with SMEE on it had to hide. I looked at mine and saw that it was blank. A moment later, all the electric lights went out. In the darkness, I heard someone moving very quietly to the door. After a minute, somebody blew a whistle, and with that shit me up, can you imagine? Somebody blew a whistle and we all rushed to the door. I had no idea who was SMEE. For 5 or 10 minutes, we were all rushing up and down passages and in and out of rooms, challenging each other and answering SMEE, SMEE. After a while, the noise died down, and I guessed that someone had found SMEE. After a time, I found a group of people all sitting on some narrow stairs. I challenged and received no answer, so SMEE was there. I hurriedly joined the group. Presently, 2 more players arrived. Each one was hurrying to avoid being last. Jack Sangston was last and was given a forfeit. I think we're all here now, aren't we? He remarked. He lit a match, looked up the staircase and began to count. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, he said and then laughed. That's silly, there's one too many. The match went out. He lit another one and began to count. He got as far as 12, then he looked puzzled. There are 13 people here, he said, and I haven't even counted myself yet. Oh, nonsense, I laughed. You probably began with yourself and now you want to count yourself twice, that's all. His son took out his electric torch. It gave a better light than the matches, and we all began to count. Of course, there were 12 of us. Jack laughed. Well, he said, I was sure I counted 13 twice. From halfway up the stairs, Violet Sangston spoke nervously. I thought there was someone sitting 2 steps above me. Have you moved, Captain Ransom? The captain said that he hadn't, but I thought there was someone sitting between Mrs. Sangston and me. Just for a moment, there was an uncomfortable something in the air. A cold finger seemed to touch us all. For that moment, we all felt that something odd and unpleasant had just happened, and was likely to happen again. Then we laughed at ourselves and at each other, and we felt normal again. There were only 12 of us, and that was that. Still laughing, we marched back to the sitting room to begin again. Sorry. This time, I was SMEE. Violet Sangston found me while I was searching for a hiding place. That game didn't last long. Soon there were 12 people and the game was over. Violet felt cold and wanted a jacket. Her husband went up to their room to fetch it. As soon as he'd gone, Reggie touched me on the arm. He was looking pale and sick. Quick, he whispered. I've got to talk to you. Something horrible has happened. We went to the breakfast room. What's the matter? I asked. I don't know. You were SMEE last time, weren't you? Well, of course I didn't know who SMEE was, while Mother and the others ran to the west side of the house. Oh, by the way, if you're a man and you call your mum Mother, that's disgusting.
I'm Mummy.
While Mother and the others ran to the west side of the house and found you, I went east. There's a deep clothes cupboard in my room and it looked like a good hiding place. I thought perhaps SMEE might be there. I opened the door in the dark and touched somebody's hand. SMEE? I whispered. There was no answer. I thought I'd found SMEE. Well, I don't understand it, but I suddenly had a strange, cold feeling. I can't describe it, but I felt that something was wrong, so I turned on my electric torch and there was nobody there. I'm sure I touched a hand, and nobody could get out of the cupboard because I was standing in the doorway. What do you think about that? You imagined that you touched a hand, I said. He gave a short laugh. I knew you'd say that, he said. Of course I imagined it. That's the only explanation, isn't it? I agreed with him. I could see that he still felt shaken. Together we returned to the sitting room for another game of SMEE. I would not a fucking chance. I'd be like, can we go and have a mince pie and a whiskey and go to
12 of
fucking
us
bed?
down the local pub.
It's Santa. The end.
It's Santa with his cold finger up your bum.
He's got his sack out. The others were all ready.
I need this round me. I'm getting chills.
Are you getting cold?
Santa, hold me.
Together we returned to the sitting room for another game of SMEE. The others were all ready and waiting to start again. Perhaps it was my imagination, although I'm almost sure that it was not. But I had a feeling that nobody was really enjoying the game anymore. Everyone was too polite to mention it, though. All the same, I had the feeling that something was wrong. All the fun had gone out of the game. Something deep inside me was trying to warn me. Take care, it whispered. Take care. There was some unnatural and unhealthy influence at work in the house. Why did I have this feeling? Because Jack Sangston had counted 13 people instead of 12? Because his son imagined he'd touched someone's hand in an empty cupboard? I tried to laugh at myself, but I didn't succeed. We started again. While we were all chasing the unknown SMEE, we were all as noisy as ever, but it seemed to me that most of us were just acting. We were no longer enjoying the game. At first, I stayed with the others, but for several minutes, no SMEE was found. I left the main group and started searching on the first floor at the west side of the house. And there, while I was feeling my way along, I bumped into a pair of human knees. I put out my hand and touched a soft, heavy curtain. Then I knew where I was. There were tall, deep windows with window seats at the end of the passage. The curtains reached to the ground. Somebody was sitting in a corner of the window seats behind a curtain. Aha, I thought, I've caught SMEE. So I pulled the curtain to one side and touched a woman's arm. It was dark. It was a dark, moonless night outside. I couldn't see the woman sitting in the corner of the window seat. SMEE? I whispered. There was no answer. When SMEE is challenged, he or she does not answer. So I sat down beside her to wait for the others. Then I whispered, "What's your name?" And out of the darkness beside me, the whisper came, "Brenda Ford."
Shut up.
One of the most unattractive names ever.
It's
It's
Brenda Ford.
It's Brenda Ford. Do you want to play a game of salmon?
Would you like some beans with that?
Do you want some?
Would you like cottage pie?
Curry sauce
Or
or mushy peas?
Cottage or shepherd's?
Always cottage,
It's
obviously.
always cottage,
Always
isn't it,
cottage.
darling? Yeah. I know what you like. You like beans. You like
Beans and a cottage pie. You're
Yeah,
gross.
no,
Are you
green
kidding?
beans.
Oh right. Oh, I never considered those. I always
steamed
considered
veg. By the loving hand of Brenda.
Brenda Ford.
Brenda Ford.
Bend her over.
Bend her over the Ford.
Jesus Christ! We are literally murdering.
Bend over, Brenda,
these
over my
pieces-
Ford.
Come on, Brenda, let's get SMEE involved. Let's have a good shag. Right.
Brenda and SMEE.
Okay, Brenda Ford.
Come on, go back. Go back.
Okay. I didn't know the name, but I guessed at once who she was. I knew every girl in the house by name except for one. And that was the tall, pale, dark, fat-backed girl.
Fat back.
She's got a fat back! I've got a fat back, I understand the plight. So here she was sitting beside me on the window seat, shut in between a heavy
Wait,
curtain
go
and a
back.
window.
Go back from where it says Brenda Ford.
Okay. I didn't know the name, but I guessed at once who she was. I knew every girl in the house by name except one, and that was the tall, pale, dark girl. So here she was sitting beside me on the window seat, shut in between a heavy curtain and a window. I was beginning to enjoy the game. I wondered if she was enjoying it too. I whispered one or two... It's going to get saucy now. I whispered one or two rather ordinary questions to her and received no answer. SMEE is a game of silence. It's a rule of the game that SMEE and the person or persons who have found SMEE to keep quiet. This, of course, makes it harder for the others to find them, but there was nobody else about. I wondered, therefore, why she was insisting on silence. I spoke again, and I got no answer. I began to feel a little annoyed. Perhaps she is one of those cold, clever girls who has a poor opinion of all men. That's us. Mm-hmm. She doesn't like me, and she's using the rule of the game as an excuse for not speaking. Well, if she doesn't like sitting here with me, I certainly don't want to sit here with her, so I turned away from her. I hope someone finds us soon, though. As I sat there, I realised that I disliked sitting behind this girl very much indeed. That was strange. The girl I'd seen at dinner had seemed likeable in a cold kind of way. I noticed her and wanted to know more about her, but now I felt really uncomfortable beside her. The feeling of something wrong, something unnatural was growing. I remembered touching her arm and I trembled with horror. I wanted to jump up and run away. I prayed that someone else would come along soon. Just then, I heard light footsteps in the passage. Somebody on the other side of the curtain brushed against my knees. The curtain moved to one side and a woman's hand touched my shoulder. "SMEE?" whispered a voice that I recognised at once. It was Mrs. Gorman. Of course, she received no answer. She came and sat down beside me, and at once I felt better. "It's Tony Jackson, isn't it?" she whispered. "Yeah," I whispered back.
Tony Braxton?
Tony Braxton's...
Say you love me again.
Tony Braxton's in.
Tony Braxton?
Tony Braxton. She's got a fat back.
Poor Tony Braxton, I'm sure hasn't. Where is she
It's
now?
Tony Jackson. "Yes," I whispered back. "You're not SMEE, are you?" "No, she's on the other side." She reached out across me. I heard a fingernail scratch a woman's silk dress. "Hello, SMEE. How are you? Who are you?" "Oh, it's against the rules to talk. Never mind." Fucking Mrs. Gorman's pissed. "Tony, we'll break the rules. Do you know, Tony, this game is beginning to annoy me a little. I hope they aren't going to play it all evening. I'd like to play a nice quiet game all together beside a warm fire." "Me too," I agreed. "Can't you suggest something to them? There's something rather unhealthy about this particular game. I'm sure I'm being very silly, but I can't get rid of the idea that we've got an extra player. Somebody who ought not to be here at all." Your fucking shoulders look mental in that.
Why? That's not what you mean.
Fat back and pointy shoulder.
Yeah. This is my 80s, though.
Oh, God, okay. That was exactly how I felt, but I didn't say so. However, I felt much better. Mrs. Gorman's arrival had chased away my fears. We sat talking. "I wonder when the others will find us," said Mrs. Gorman. After a time, we heard the sound of feet in young Reggie's voice shouting, "Hello, hello? Is anybody there?" "Yeah," I answered. "Is Mrs. Gorman with you?" "Yes." "What happened to you? You've both got forfeits. We've been waiting for you for hours." "But you haven't found SMEE yet," I complained. "You haven't? I mean, you haven't, you mean? I was SMEE this time. But SMEE is here with us," I cried. "Yeah," Mrs. Gorman said. The curtain was pulled back and we sat looking into the eye of Reggie's torch. I looked at Mrs. Gorman and then on my other side. Between me and the wall was an empty place on the window seat. I stood up at once, then I sat down again. I was feeling very sick, and the world seemed to be going round and round. "There was somebody here," I insisted, "because I touched her." "So did I," said Mrs. Gorman in a trembling voice, "and I don't think that anyone could leave this window seat without us knowing." Reggie gave a shaky little laugh. I remembered his unpleasant experience early that evening. "Someone's been playing jokes," he said. "Are you coming down?" We were not very popular when we came down to the sitting room. "I found the two of them sitting behind a curtain on a window seat," said Reggie. I went up to the tall, dark girl. "You pretended to be SMEE and then went away," I accused her. She shook her head. Afterwards, we all played cards in the sitting room and I was very glad. Some time later, Jack Sangston wanted to talk to me. I could see that he was rather cross and soon told me the reason. "Tony," he said, "I suppose you're in love with Mrs. Gorman. That's your business. But please don't make love to her in my house during a game." They thought they were rotting up against the wall. "Please don't make love to her in my house during a game. You kept everybody waiting. It was very rude of you."
So he's really gone from 0 to 100.
Yeah, he's like, well,
They might
they've
be
gone missing.
snogging on
They
the
are
bloody-
fingering. No, make love,
Wow.
specifically. "But we weren't alone," I protested. "There was somebody else there, somebody who was pretending to be SMEE." I believe it was that tall, dark girl, Miss Ford. I believe it was that tall, dark girl, Miss Ford. She whispered a name to me. Of course, she refused to admit it afterwards, though. Jack Sangston stared at me. Miss who? He breathed. Brenda Ford, she said. Jack put a hand on my shoulder. Look here, Tony, I don't mind a joke, but enough is enough. We don't want to worry the ladies. Brenda Ford is the name of the girl who broke her neck on the stairs. She was playing hide and seek here. 10 years ago. The end.
Oh my God.
Oh! Lovely little story, wasn't it?
That was. I can imagine a
Spooky.
film of that.
Yeah, me too. We should make that.
I want to.
Shall we
see
make that for Patreon?
Yeah.
We should make that film.
A SMEE special.
A SMEE smorgasbord.
Yes, a smorgasbord of sexy.
Right, write that down. Write that down. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make a film.
Right.
Wasn't that lovely?
Well, do you know what? I've actually got. Look at this.
Oh,
Boo.
yeah.
You remember
it's
the
back.
notebook? Do you
We
remember?
haven't seen that in a while.
Well, it's because I finished the other notebook and now I've got a new one called Boo.
Oh, lovely.
Right, I'm putting down SMEE. Must play. Okay.
Must
everyone,
make a film.
if you play SMEE over your Christmas break, tell us how it goes.
Yes, please.
Tell
yeah,
us.
play it and tell us.
Play it.
Oh,
play
it's
it in a haunted
exciting.
house. I really enjoyed that, Hannah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Would you like a creep of the week?
Yes, please.
Da-ba-da-da. Da-ba-da-da. Creep of the week, creep of the week, creep of the week, creep of the week, and the day.
Nice.
Holiday, Christmas Day, creep of the week for me and you.
You should go to songwriting.
My crashing creep of the week.
Can't get Brenda Ford out of my head. Brenda Ford.
Okay. This is from...
I would love some cottage pie now.
Oh, you sicken me. Right.
This table looks absolutely outrageous.
Okie dokie. This is from Hayley.
Thanks, Hayley.
So
Sending in, Hayley.
let's get into it.
YL or IL?
What?
If you say H. Put it
What?
YL or IL?
Hayley.
Hayley.
Haley.
Oh.
What are you
It's
on
normally
about?
HAILEY or HAYLEY.
Are you shaming her spelling?
I'm not shaming it. I'm just saying.
Wow, Hannah.
That's.
She says here,
She's thinking
hey,
outside the
I
box.
love Susie and Hannah Bad. Thank you, Hayley.
I love Susie and Hannah Bad.
Hannah Bad.
Thank you. Well, Hayley, I'm not going to take that too.
She doesn't say that.
I'm not going to
actually.
take that
was-
too to heart because you're obviously a moron. And I'm saying
Wow, see?
I meant
See?
Susie. I meant Susie, not you, Hayley. I was
Okay.
being very passive aggressive to Susie.
This is called A Wholesome Ghost Tale.
Oh, I love this. Yeah, please. Let's go.
Hey! For the sake of the pod, I'd love to share a sweet story of mine. It's quite
Please.
long, so be prepared.
Yes.
So, this last August, my dad passed away from lung cancer. We're sorry to hear it, Hayley.
Sorry.
He decided to go through with the natural process of passing from the disease rather than try and withstand chemo at his age. He was 74 at the time of his diagnosis. Now, my mum and I had been full-time caretakers for the year and a half, and he was in this programme. We had a nurse come out once every couple of weeks and make sure there was no murdering of the elderly or medication needing replenishing, but otherwise we were on our own. My dad had been an avid smoker for upwards of 60 years of his life, as he started smoking in his early mid-teens and kept up the habit ever since. Now, I know what you're thinking about cigarette smoke lingering and sticking to walls, etc., but the house we've been renting for the last 11 years was a non-smoking residence. So he had to go outside onto the back patio to smoke. So no smoke smell. It's just, sorry, I've just needed, my phone is auto-rotating and sometimes
What
it will
does that
do that.
mean?
Sometimes it will do that.
What does that mean?
My bedroom window overlooks the back patio, right where he would sit in the lovely Lazy Susan plush recliner chair.
Oh, what is that?
Well, you can imagine that. Lazy Susan is the table that goes round.
Yeah, but how is it a...
And then a recliner chair that goes round and round. Stunning.
Loves that, yeah.
A Lazy Susan plush recliner chair and enjoy his little breaks from playing online poker. Now, my dad talked to himself quite often. Because of my window placement, I could sometimes... Oh, honestly, I'm so sorry. My
Your phone's on loud like a boomer.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? Now, my dad talked to himself quite often, and because of my window placement, I could sometimes hear him. That's the spookiest part of the story, I'll be honest. He found a fondness for hummingbirds and would often buy new hummingbird feeders that would catch the light so that they would think it was pretty enough to come visit our yard. Every time he'd see one, he would politely say, "Hey, Hummer," and let it go on its way. He'd shared this with my mum and I, and was obviously very proud of his hummingbird friends. So after he got sick, hummingbirds had a very special place in all of our hearts since he wasn't able to move on his own, therefore unable to make it out to the patio as often. We made the joke then that if reincarnation is real, he's got to come back as a hummingbird and let us know. We are all very at peace with death and curious about what happened, so as the first of us 3 to go, he had to be the test subject. Now, he was also a musician for some of his early adult life, and he'd written a song called Thunder Rider. If I can, I'll attach a link to the song.
Oh, great.
If you want to give it a little listen.
Yes, please.
He really loved rain and thunderstorms, and we live in Southern California.
Southern California.
Southern. So they are few and far between. The day before his passing, we had a random, unannounced, full thunder and rainstorm only over our area.
Ooh.
When there was previously not a cloud in the sky 5 minutes before and nothing on the forecast. It lasted for about 15 minutes, long enough. Fuck's sake, man.
Long enough.
Long enough for us to tell my dad, who was non-verbal now, that he was going out with a bang, cry and be otherwise baffled. It was during a heat wave and there was no cloud or humidity in the air, and after that short little storm, it was back to being bone dry, like it never happened. We're convinced he summoned the rain purely for the drama. My mum and him were into numerology and astrology and raised my sister and I on it. The number 8 was super significant to my dad, and he even planned his and my mum's wedding to be on August the 8th, 1988. 1988. On the day he passed away, my mum and I decided to claim his time of death as 8:54, so it would equal an 8, like 5 plus 4 equals 9, 9 plus 8 equals 17, 1 plus 7 equals 8. We had to call the nurse to confirm he'd passed, and because we live quite out of the way, it took the nurse about 2 hours to get there. He had to submit the time of death when he confirmed it, rather than when my dad actually died. So my mum and I were slightly disappointed until we realised that the time of death the nurse submitted was 10:52, which is still an 8. 5 plus 2 equals 7, 1 plus 7 equals 8. We took that as my dad's handiwork as well. He was always a stickler for routine and probably wanted to keep his 8s going right till the end. Since he passed on a weekend, when I went back to work on Monday, still feeling mild shock about the whole thing, I pulled into the parking lot, and when I parked my car, there was a big, colourful, bright hummingbird sitting on the fence, staring directly at my car. It made me very happy, but I brushed it off and I went on with my day. When I got home, I decided to go out back onto the patio and sit in my dad's chair after filling the feeder. We obviously kept it full for the birds, and we still do to this day. The same bright, colourful hummingbird came about 6 inches in front of my face and just looking at me in the eye before going to sit on the perch of the feeder for a few minutes before flying off. This made me break down in tears of joy, knowing that somehow my cranky old dad may have come back as a hummingbird and chose to say hello twice in one day, letting us know that there is life after death as promised. I like to think that in terms of ghosts, there really are just the energy of someone's soul lingering around. And if I didn't believe in reincarnation before, these things that represent my dad have proven to me that energy is real. And my dad is happily manipulating it on occasion to look after us and send us signs that he's okay.
Oh.
I've re-listened to each episode on Spotify 3 times and I'm about to binge a 4th. I really appreciate you guys making the perfect podcast for someone who believes in the weird but needs to deflect the heebie-jeebies with humour.
Yes.
Since I'm tight on money, I can't subscribe to www.patreon.com/ghosthuns, winky face.
Yeah.
But I encourage everyone to do so. Thank you, Hayley, so we can keep the pod going. Sending love and spooks, Hayley. And here is the link to my dad's song for your perusal. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please.
Come on. This is a fucking banger, mate.
Oh, what's it called?
Thunder Rider.
Everybody go stream it on Spotify.
Thunder Rider. The Moore Brothers Band.
Yeah, nice.
This is fucking great. Wait, let's get into it.
Oh.
Do you think this is a banger?
Yeah, it's got a lovely voice. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have this on the way home.
Me too.
I am actually. I like this vibe.
Thanks, Hayley.
It's almost like rock meets country.
I can imagine driving to this, and I don't even drive.
Oh, sunglasses, cigarette on.
Like
Yeah.
Bonnie and Clyde. No,
Bonnie and
Thelma
Clyde.
and Louise.
Thelma and Louise, yeah. But someone always fucking drives. stunning. Thank you so much, Hayley. That was
We
delicious.
love you. Sending love to you and
That
your
was
mom.
such a sweet story. I love that.
Cute.
Okay, shall
Merry
we get
Christmas to
haunted
all.
so you don't have to on
Tim,
this
get in here.
Christmas time?
Right, okay, so this is, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm excited,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
ready for this. Don't look.
Time is it?
Shall we do presents and then we get haunted?
Yes.
Okay, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you.
Tim, would you like your present first?
Oh, yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Here you go.
There you
This
go,
is for
Tim.
Tim.
That's a posh bag. Tim will have that bag back for another
It's
present.
a little ghost story.
I love it. Oh, my God.
What? So
That's
you're saying that you
so
wouldn't have
cute.
preferred a half bottle of Archers, a bag of plantain crisps, and
Tell
I mean,
the
I do
listeners
like
what
an
it
Archers.
is.
So it's a little book, The Leaf Sweeper, which is, it looks like a little Christmassy sort of horror story.
lovely.
Yay.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
can't-
another little present
I
in
can't
there.
wait for this.
Some sweets.
Some chocolate
Oh, look
coins.
at that.
Chocolate
Is it Christmas
coins.
without a chocolate coin?
No, it's not.
No.
These are wonderful.
Is that
I
okay,
love chocolate
Tim?
coins. I
Yay,
love
Merry
it.
Is that
Thank
okay?
Christmas,
You're happy with
Tim.
that, Tim?
I'm so happy. Thank
Oh,
you so
good.
much.
You're so
Yay.
welcome. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
I love it.
Merry Crimbo.
Sorry, we have noticed that you've got a gift
Yeah,
there,
we've got-
actually.
I
Yeah,
do.
can we
I
have
have a
that,
gift
please?
sort of for both of you. Who wants to?
Oh, very
Me,
nice.
me.
Okay.
You wanna open
Thank
it?
you. Yes, please. Oh my fucking God!
What is
It
it?
says reading tarot. Find your inner fortune
God.
teller through the cards.
Thank God someone's
From
finally
Treadwell's-
done that.
Shit the fuck.
Oh,
Fuck.
We'll bring that every
Sorry,
week, Tim.
Yeah.
Thank
Oh my
you
God,
so
thank
much,
you.
Tim.
Actually, this
So
is
I thought
we need
because
this.
you guys are using the little book
Yeah.
each time, I was thinking this could be a nice way
Oh,
of like
yeah.
This
getting a
is
bit
a
more
fucking-
knowledge.
It's an
in you.
upgrade, yeah.
Oh,
thank you.
you,
That's so
Tim.
kind, Tim. Thank you
You're
very
the
much.
best. We
Yeah.
love you.
Also,
Thank
just a
you.
shout out to Treadwell's if you're in London. Go
Oh,
there
yeah,
for all your
Treadwell's,
book
yeah.
needs.
Book
Such a
needs.
good store.
And actually, I'll
Thanks,
bring this for
Tim.
every episode
Yes,
so that we
you
can.
must, yeah.
And then Hannah, this is your.
Oh,
it's,
oh my
It's in a
God.
Christmas sack.
Oh, it's a big sack.
And it's got a fun
Salmon
gift
sack.
and actual Christmas gift.
It's not going to beat one solitary battery, is it?
So I hope you enjoy your Christmas gift.
I literally thought it was the same book as that, and you've been. Oh, ghostly tales of frosted. Oh, that's stunning.
Yeah, a
Thank you.
frosty-
The winter spirit.
Yes, and another one.
I love
Oh,
that.
it's another one. What is it?
It's a crystal ball.
It's a crystal ball.
Oh
love
my
it.
God.
Yes,
That's
open
wonderful.
that shit up.
Oh my God. Yes, please.
And then I think you should just ask it a question, and then it will tell you the answer. Fuck! Look at that. She's getting her nails right into it.
Get him in there. Right. All right. Okay. Is this the we get haunted part?
Could be actually.
I can't open
I
it.
just can't open it. It's quite
Can we play
stressful.
some like music?
Actually, I'll play Thunder Rider.
Dun, dun, na, 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 na,
Play
na,
Thunder Rider.
na, na, na.
Yeah. Come on. Okay.
I feel like I need to have like a lighter in the air, just like that. Like
I
at a
have to
concert.
fucking assemble it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So I just hold it in again.
Yeah, go on, assemble it then.
Assemble it.
Does it need a battery or something?
Well, we do have one. On.
Sit on, go on. Look how stunning
Is that
that is.
working? I don't understand.
Right. Is
I don't
it?
understand what's supposed to happen.
Does it have any Does it have an on
It
button?
has loads of stuff, yeah. It has the crystal ball.
It looks
block.
quite pretty actually.
Very
I
nice.
kind of want one myself. Ah!
Okay, hang on.
Fucking
To
hell.
replace the back. Does this come with 3 replaceable are included?
Oh,
Oh,
So,
have I given you
Oh.
a dud?
oh,
what?
Excuse me.
What did she say? Let me try again.
This is amazing.
What's happening?
Go on, ask it a question.
Hang on. No, I can't. It's not on anymore.
oh! I saw lights.
Did she,
for a
yeah,
second.
I think
What
it's
is
through the-
happening?
Hang on. This is like, it just chooses as and when it wants to.
Is the crystal ball haunted? Do we think?
Yeah,
probably
ask if the
won't,
crystal ball is haunted.
Is the crystal ball haunted?
Why? How did you get it to make it
Fuck
sound?
knows.
Most
Micro-
unlikely.
Oh, I thought you meant microwave.
Most unlikely microwave.
Microwave. Ah! Right, okay.
Okay,
Hang
go
on.
on, go on.
Okay. What question shall I ask? Is Susie going to get a visit from Santa this year?
She can't work
Do
her
I have to
own
touch it?
fucking
I
ball.
can't. That's classic, you know. This is very on brand. Come the fuck on, Bridget.
Go on. Will I get a visit from fucking Santa?
Do I have to shake it? Or
Maybe
This
if you
is out of the
stare
way.
deeply into it, and you'll sort of see the answer in there.
I need to get a photo of that. Fucking hell. Hannah's just gone boss-eyed with her crystal ball.
Ow.
Go on, get it to say something.
Hello! Can anyone hear me? Most unlikely. Oh, you're not getting a visit from Santa. Sorry.
Most unlikely.
Oh, stunning. What a gorgeous
And then let's
Get
quickly do
haunted.
our Christmas
Christmas
cracker.
That's very good.
Hey!
Hey, who wins? Yeah, very good.
Go
Yeah,
on,
nice.
Hannah.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, God. Susie is the worst winner in the world. She's like, yay, me! Thank
Okay.
you so much for my gift. That is actually stunning.
Yeah, and we've kind of contacted the dead via crystal ball.
Yeah, we did. So we will see you next time
Next
for some
time.
more Ghost Hunts.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
And a Happy
Christmas
New
and a
Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye, bitches.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great Christmas.